All right, if you've been following along here, you know that we are sort of at the AC step. So on the L86 or LT1, and if you're using the SwapTime Gen 5 conversion harness, where you take your factory harness and factory computers, send them to Mitch at SwapTime, he reworks them to install on your truck here. So that's where we are. When he reworks that factory harness, he gives you a wire that kind of runs off the back of the harness over here, and it's labeled AC compressor, I believe. That AC compressor wire, all it needs is to be connected right here. This is the Toyota EWD. This is a black and white wire that feeds the AC clutch. On the factory harness, I'm going to point out where that's located. Let me grab my flashlight here. On the factory harness, that is located in that little white connector right there. So in that white connector, you can kind of see it there, right there, a little black and white wire on the bottom there. I just looped it back for now to make sure it all worked. That black and white wire is what feeds the factory Toyota compressor. What the SwapTime harness needs is for you to take his wire that runs around from the back of the motor there. I just kind of traced it along the firewall over here, and then I tied that wire into that black and white wire, and then when I turn on the factory AC controls on the dash, it sends a signal to the GM computer to activate the compressor. The other thing you have to make sure is in place is this factory AC pressure switch and its wiring. You have to just look at the harness, make sure you have, or look at the EWD, figure out what color these wires are. I think one's blue and one's tan. You'll have to go back and look at the harness. The EWD, I don't quite remember. But make sure that when you're deleting wires, mainly from over here, when you're removing wires from back over here, make sure that those wires stay intact, because that's going to tell the factory Toyota AC system that the system does have pressure, and it can go ahead and send signal to its compressor clutch. But when it does that, it's going to send signal to the GM computer, which will then activate the AC system, which has its own pressure switch, which is that switch right there. So it has its own pressure switch also on the AC system. So it will run and activate and turn off and turn on with full throttle, or if it senses a problem, it'll shut the system down. So it still runs like a factory normal. With that GM system, if you're running the spall fan setup like I did, you will have the single wire, right, that runs to the GM computer, that runs your twin fans. If you've watched my previous videos, I've talked about those, or if you're following me on my I Hate Mud build, I talk about that system. But with that AC switch built in from the factory, for the GM side, it will ramp up the fans, ramp down the fans as it deems the AC needs more or less fan to control your temperatures. So that's all you need in place, wiring-wise, for the factory AC system to integrate and talk to the GM compressor and for everything to be happy. From there, I had a guy locally, he works actually out of an old ambulance, but I had a guy local here in DFW build me factory lines. He took the Toyota bulkheads from there and mated them to GM lines so that they made up to the factory high and low pressure. So there's one line, the other line is underneath, runs under the headlight, again to another factory connector, and then he put the other port down there facing down, and it's got plenty of room to reach sort of underneath. Just got the grill removed so I could show you guys that. So that's it. And then the system vacuums down like normal, pressurizes like normal with new Freon, and you're good to go. So when you get in, lose my keys again. What do I do with my keys? Oh, they're on the seat. So when I hop in, factory AC system works as normal. So all of this is going to operate just like normal. So it's been running for a while. I just got home from about a 40-mile trip. Fans kick on. Compressor is running. So that's it. Like I said, I did about a 40-mile drive. It's about 90 degrees here in Texas. And dash temps never got above like 207. And the AC was really cold. Those fans do an awesome job. And not that you can feel this through the YouTube video, but it is super cold. So it's a great way to do the system there. Any questions, let me know. I'll link my build thread in this video